Hello, everyone. In these videos, I'm going to go ahead and go through the solutions. Oh, this is not exam 1. This is exam 2 here. I'll have to change that later. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go through the solutions for this review that I have created. This is not the review that you turn in. This is a review that can help you with that review. So here we go. We want to use the rules for derivatives to find the derivatives of the following functions. Here on A, we have y equals x cubed minus 3x squared plus 5x minus 8. I'm going to go ahead and use the power rule here. So, by the way, you have to denote this either say y prime equals or say dy dx equals. Either way is fine. I'm going to leave it as dy dx for now. So, using the power rule here, this 3 comes down in front, making that 3. And then subtract 1 from the exponent makes that x squared. So it's 3x squared. Then down here, 2 times negative 3 gives me negative 6. And then subtract 1 from the exponent gives me a 1. And then the derivative of a linear is just the slope of the line, which is just 5. And the derivative of a constant is 0. So here is the derivative here on A. For B, we have y equals 6 square root of x minus 3 x to the 5/6 power. Now, notice that we actually want to rewrite this before we do anything because the square root of x is not what we want to use. Instead, we're going to say that y is equal to 6. And again, instead of the square root of x, it's x to the 1/2 power. And then minus 3, and then x to the 5/6 power. Good. And notice that I labeled this as y because I'm not taking the derivative yet. But now I'm going to take the derivative, so I'm going to go ahead and label it as dy dx here. Now, notice that I need to go ahead and use the power rule for both of these. Bring the 1/2 down in front. So 1/2 times 6, if you need to, go type it in. That will give us 3. And then x to the 1/2 minus 1 is negative 1/2. Good. Then bring the 5/6 down in front. So 5/6 times negative 3. What would that be? Negative 5/2. There we go. And then x to the, now notice that 5/6 minus 1 is negative 1/6. Good. And there you go. This is the derivative. And I'm more than happy if you just kind of leave it there. But if you don't want to do that, if you want to, you can go ahead and factor out the greatest common factor here. You would be able to say that this is then equal to, now the greatest common factor here is x to the negative 1/2 power because negative 1/2 is smaller than negative 1/6. So whenever I factor it out, what I'm left over with is 3 because the x to the negative 1/2 divided by x to the negative 1/2 cancel. And then minus 5/2, and then x to the negative 1/6 minus negative 1/2. So negative 1/6 minus negative 1/2. That's the same thing as negative 1/6 plus 1/2. So it's negative 1/6 plus 3/6, which gives me 2/6, which is 1/3. So it's technically x to the 1/3 power. Then I can bring the x to the negative 1/2 into the denominator. So that would give me 3 minus 5/2 x to the 1/3 over x to the 1/2 power. And if I don't like this, I don't like seeing a fraction within a fraction. So I can multiply both the numerator and denominator by 2, which is the common denominator here, and distribute that. And that would give me 6 minus 5 x to the 1/3 all over 2 x to the 1/2 power. And I'm fine with that as well. So choose which one you want to stop at. And there you go. That's letter B. Next, let's go on to letter C. Y is equal to 20x squared minus 3x minus 8/x cubed. Like the previous one, we need to go ahead and rewrite this. If this is in the denominator, it can go to the numerator as a negative 3 exponent. And again, the only reason I'm doing that is because there's only one term here. So that's why I'm doing that. Again, label this as y because we're not doing anything with the derivative yet. So it's going to be 20x squared minus 3x minus 8 x to the negative 3 power. Now, if you notice, at this point, we can go ahead and just take the derivative using the power rule. Now, the power rule says dy dx is equal to, bring the 2 down in front, 2 times 20 is 40, so that's 40, and then subtract 1 from the exponent, leaves us with 40x. And then negative 3x, take its derivative. Notice that we're just left with a constant there, which is minus 3. Then over here, bring the negative 3 down. So negative 3 times negative 8 is positive 24. And then subtract 1 from the exponent. So negative 3 minus 1 is, negative 4. And there you go. I'm perfectly fine if you leave it like that, but I'm pretty sure that your answers in your other review will tell you to go ahead and say that this is 40x minus 3 plus 24 divided by x to the 4th power. I don't really care which way you leave it, whichever way you want. It doesn't really matter. Alrighty, there you go. That's letter C. Let's go on to letter D now. D is another one where we need to go ahead and simplify this. The reason that I want to do that is because y equals x cubed plus 8 all over x. Notice that there's just an x in the denominator. So I can divide both of those terms by an x and simplify this. So it's going to give me y equals x cubed divided by x plus 8 divided by x. And then simplifying that, it leaves me with y equals x cubed over x. Notice that one of those x's cancel. We're left with an x squared there. And then 8 divided by x is the same thing. Is the same thing as 8 times x to the negative 1 power, because I want it to go to the numerator here. And at this point, I can go ahead and just use the power rule. So that's telling me that dy dx here is equal to, bring the 2 down, that gives me 2 x to the first power, because 2 minus 1 is 1, plus, actually minus, sorry, negative 1 times 8 is minus 8, x to the negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. And there you go. I'm perfectly fine if you leave it like that, but if you want to, you can write it down as 2x minus 8 divided by x squared. I'm pretty sure that's how it would look in your solutions. Alrighty. Well, there you go. I'm going to go ahead and leave this video here, and I will continue on to these others in a couple other videos. Alrighty then. Have fun.